Let's go. So anyone that is tuning in, hello, if you're new, or welcome back if you are not. I don't really have a lot to talk about today. It's slow. It's Sunday. Let's take it easy. Um, but I wanted to, like I said, I want to be consistent. So I am not going to talk about dinosaurs, even though a couple of you sent me messages and said your favorite dinosaurs. Ankylosaurus was one of them mentioned. They're cool. They've got lots of horns. Um, that's they're got that nice big protective coating. So that's cool. Um, yeah, I don't know what to say about dinosaurs. I'm not in a dinosaur mood, I guess. That's strange, huh? Unlike me, but that's okay. So I want to talk about. I was wearing not this shirt, even though I like this one, and it's probably my mood today. Um, but I want to talk about this one. It is my. I'm trying to see if it's in the camera. It is Stitch, and it says Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind. So I kind of wanted to talk about that and family, and what does family mean, and how has that definition changed to suit the mental well being of people at large? Because technically, at the very basis of all levels. The word family means people that are parent and children that live in a house together. But I think that over time, obviously, this definition is kind of expanded and meant to mean more things. And that family can be people you choose to be a part of your life and to care for you. And I think the reason being is that even if you do have family that you are literally related to, um, if they can't fulfill the social contract that a family should, right? I don't think they should be. They shouldn't be afforded to that anyway. I think that should be more. The thoughts and ideas of family and love should be more than just, hey, we're related. And this Ohana Stitch shirt. Stitch is one of my favorite Disney characters of all time. It doesn't even matter if it's Disney or not, but it's one of my favorites. It's a furry blue alien that doesn't feel like they fit in the world, and he's totally weird. And I relate to that because I have a lot of days where I feel like I'm an alien that doesn't fit. And in finding um, acceptance and love by complete strangers, obviously, with in that movie. I don't know if you've seen Lilo and Stitch, but he finds a family, and that's the whole concept of where that comes from. Ohana means family. I know it's not just in that movie, obviously, but I know a lot of people who have family that they consider chosen family, and I've met a lot of people that are family to me, and I think at the end of the day, they're going to be the people that support you. They support you and they love you unconditionally. And when I say they love you unconditionally, it's because love is not an emotion. It doesn't have to be only an emotion or an abstract concept. Love should be a verb. And there's a Massive Attack song, and they say that love is a doing verb. And it means that you're actively loving this other person. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're sending them gifts, because that doesn't matter if you don't actually support them. That's a tangible thing, and things don't last. But in our interconnectedness of this universe, we are all connected. So showing our love and support and making people around us actually feel that love, doing things that makes them feel that love is what makes should make them family. Like that. if we can do that, then that's what matters, is that they actually feel it, because you don't. And I know that this is something that a lot of people have touched on. I've read throughout. A very One of my favorite orators, poets, writers was is Maya Angelou, who is no longer with us. But there's a really great piece, and you can Google it, that she speaks about. And look at Love Liberates. It's amazing. And every time I watch it, it makes me cry. And I think she was one of the people that spoke about you will always remember how a person made you feel. So you will always remember that. That matters. Obviously, words matter because they can have such great impact, but how you make a person feel with your words really matters. So you can take positive and project that out. I guess that's all I wanted to say. I mean, that's so basic, but I think it's something that we don't always think about. So, it's man, is it exhausting? The days can be exhausting, and just thinking about how if we focus on that positive and keep that positive going, share that positive with other people, and then expand on that. That's right. So that's making love a doing thing. So I see some people joined, and I don't know who you are, but you can say hi if you want, and that's okay. You don't have to say hi if you don't want to. It's okay too. I didn't really have anything else to talk about, but I think I guess that idea of the love and the support, it feels like that's kind of lacking in some ways. People don't always support each other. They're very much thinking about themselves. And it's very important to love yourself so that you can love those around you. But it also matters to show that support to others around you. So you can't if you don't feel it internally, right? Part of that building that found family or having that family is knowing when you have boundaries. Oh, that's a good question. How would you define love? Ooh, oh gosh. 1 second. I don't know how you would define that. Just basically, I, well, that's a, oh, gosh. Well, hello. I don't think my battery will keep my laptop up long enough to fully define what love is. But I was, with found family, and one of the important parts to loving yourself and loving those around you is finding those boundaries and knowing when you have to know when you can love, and knowing when you have to love yourself enough where you don't let other people cross your boundaries. So if you've got positive and you got some good feelings to stick around, stick around. Arguing with someone if it was possible to love an AI. That's interesting. That's a very interesting concept, because I actually just came across a headline, and I didn't actually read the article. Maybe I'll try and look it up again. But I just actually came across in my headlines. And they said, why do people keep insisting that AI is alive when they're not, right? So that question, is it possible to love an AI, brings more questions than answers for me, because AI stands for artificial intelligence, but are they really alive? And at what point is something really alive? And at what point does it matter if the act of energy in cells, scientific alive, heartbeat, is that the same as sentience with brain activity? And is that the same as, I don't know. I mean, that's a really That's a really big question. Is it possible to love an AI? I mean, I think it's possible to love anything, but I guess that depends on what your idea of love is, right? How do I define love, though? Gosh, I don't know if I have. I use the word a lot. Um, I use the word a lot to not be able to actually give you, well, yeah, you can love money, but why do you love money? What? It makes you feel something, right? It makes you feel like I don't gotta stress. If I can look at this money, I know I can buy some food. I can pay my bills, so I don't gotta stress. So, do you love the money or do you love the security? So, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you can love money, but can you love money? Does it matter if it was a different type of currency? So, I think it's not that you love money necessarily. It's I think that you love the security and the safety of having that and being able to facilitate other things in your life. I don't know that necessarily people just love money. Maybe they can love money for that, but I think it's more than them actually just loving a piece of paper. But maybe love can be defined as something is pro-social or interconnected. I think love is more of an experience rather than a force. Oh, it absolutely is an experience. Especially, oh, I completely agree, especially if you share that with someone. Because you can love something, right? Um, you can love something or you can love a person and your feelings are real and that experience with that person is real, but it's a very different experience if that person doesn't love you back quite the same way or at all. So that changes that whole dynamic. I think you can absolutely 100% love someone and then never love you back the same way. Or they do love you back the same way, and like you said, if it's social and they are interconnected like that and they love you back, holy smokes, that's amazing. You can't deny the experience of sharing love with another person. And it's not just a feeling in that way. It transcends that and that becomes very much a force because do um if you do both share that, it does become much more than just a feeling. It's much more than just that experience, though. I think that does transcend it and it becomes a force because you make that commitment in that love. And it doesn't have to be romantic love at all. At all. I absolutely believe in unconditional love. 100% I believe in unconditional love. But sometimes, hey, sometimes I think um, I think, as much as this may sound selfish, I think having unconditional love for oneself, you need to be sure to set up those boundaries so that if you're trying to practice unconditional love, you have to know when to, I don't know, you got to know when to, what is it, cut bait so that you don't, because you can light a fire with your candle and you don't diminish. Your candle is still lit. You can light another candle and your candle remains lit. But at some point you have to guard against the fact that that's I don't know. So I guess that makes it sound like I don't believe in unconditional love, but I think if you love another person, you give those good feelings without a condition, basically. So that I believe in unconditional relationships. I have unconditional love for my children, and I'll explain what I meant by that. I do have I have no conditions on how they don't have to earn my love. They get it without condition. 100%. It's a default. It's unconditional. If I believe in body and mind autonomy. So it has been very important to me since they were born that they have power, control over their own body, over their own selves, over their beliefs and their thoughts, so that they absolutely question me. They can 100%. You are a person, and I believe. I do think that part of that is when I say unconditional, I mean they don't owe me anything. It's not conditional. So there's no conditions on whether if they want to cut their own hair, they own their body. It is theirs. They don't need to ask my permission. It is them. It is theirs. They own it. So um, and they're allowed to. That's the basis. I mean, that's something I just very, very, very firmly believe in body autonomy. So, I guess as far as an unconditional relationship, the best example I can think of is parent-child relationship. And because of the dynamics, parents are the people that 100% always will be in the position of power, no matter what age their child is. I also believe, no matter what age their child is, that child, as an adult, unto the day that they die, even into old age, they are 100% always going to want their parents' unconditional love and support, period. I don't think that that will ever stop. And I think it's very important that parents look past what they want in life and recognize that their kids need that, and their kids are living their own lives, and that their kids need their support. They don't need judgment. They don't need conditions. You don't, as a parent, well, I will support you if. No. Sorry. No ifs. I have no idea what percentage of parents achieve that goal. I don't know. So I have, I mean, I know my beliefs may not be popular. I don't really care. I'm not doing anything in my structure in parenting to impress anyone. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter at all. I am doing what's important and best for my kids, because my job, because they didn't ask to be born, my job is to make sure that they can care for themselves 100%. 100%. They need to be able to take care of themselves, because I'm not always going to be here. And they have to be able to take care of themselves, and they have to know through that lens of that unconditional love. If they have my unconditional love, they can know that they are worthy. So in their lives, they can know that not everybody else has that out for them, the best interest at heart. And a lot of people out there want their own thing. They have to know where those boundaries, that if my mom loves me so much, I have to know when to say no, draw boundaries, and go from there. Because if I don't teach them that, and that's their whole basis, they're not going to know. So I guess it really doesn't matter to me if other people believe that or not. I could think about that. I could worry about it, but it doesn't do any good for me to worry about it. Like, because I can't change it. I don't have any control over that. So I have to look at what I do have control over in my life. Can I give my kids the best foundation possible in this world so that they can take care of themselves, protect themselves, and be as whole as possible, and be a productive member of our interconnected society? So for me, that really is the best example of unconditional love that I can give. Is they can always have my love with zero conditions. Do I always agree with decisions that they make? Well, I'm not always going to. But you know what? Tough luck. It doesn't matter if I agree. It's their life, not mine. I'm not sure. Is it proven the best foundation? What if it was proven that the best foundation for children comes with conditional love? Well, I don't think it has been proven. It might change my idea. I have been known to change my ideas on things if I'm proven wrong. I don't know how that could be proven because a lot of the stuff that people have accused me of being kind of weird and hokey about actually has come back to have science backing that there's actually evidence for it. Um, for example, just some of the principles that I've used in a more gentle approach to childcare, as far as babies, for example, when they were babies, and not letting them cry it out. Unfalsified, I don't know what you mean. You'd have to give me an example. What do you mean by, what do you think about unfalsifiable claims? I don't know in the context. You'd have to explain what that meant. But as far as like an example of if it was proven conditional, unconditional love for me, one of the things I did was I nursed my children without restriction when they were babies. And by babies, I mean at least 2 years old. My children nursed until they were 3. I don't necessarily want to go on a rant because I don't judge other parents for their decisions. They can do what they want in their lives. They have to make what's best decisions for them. So I don't want it to come off like that at all. I made the decisions that I made that were good for my kids, and I fully support anyone, because it's really hard to be a parent. I fully support any parent doing what they have to do and what they believe. Claims that can't be proven to be true. Well, there are some of that is proven to be true. Like I was just saying about like with the yeah, I mean that can be a lot of that can be true, that proven true. Like like there can be debates about a lot of things. I mean I guess you can't prove unconditional love exists. It's a possible value. That's fair. I'm not going to argue that, because there are people that love comes with conditions. And it's, oh, and I'll say, I think it's probably fair to have a condition to that love. Like when you get to a point where you give your all to another person and they're toxic to you and it's hurting you, then you should probably have a condition that you like, you leave. So you take care of yourself. I mean, that's there, that's fair. So I think that it's, uh, that yes, you probably should have conditional. So I guess it depends on the relationship that you have. So I think I mean, if as long as everybody is consenting and they're not harming other people, I think unconditional is safe for that. It's a safe metric to go by. Um, but a romantic relationship is very, very different than a parent-child relationship. Power dynamics alone. If you're in a romantic relationship, uh, or in any kind of friendship, that's not the same as a parent-child relationship. A parent-child relationship is a parent-child relationship is important to be unconditional because there's a power dynamic there. And one person didn't ask to be there, if that makes sense. It's the same way when you are taking care of an animal or a pet. They didn't ask to be there. And I think more people should fully agree that child abusers and animal abusers should, no, I'm sorry. I don't have any support for that at all. But a romantic relationship and a friendship relationship, those other relationships, I actually agree they do need conditions, because you have to. I mean, I guess that's where it comes back to, you unconditionally love yourself enough to not put up with that. As long as those relationships, they're not they shouldn't be a power struggle. Like you shouldn't have a power dynamic in a relationship. If you want a romantic relationship to be successful, I don't think that you should have a power struggle, because you're not. I mean, not. I mean, I guess if that's what you want, I don't know. I don't like a power struggle. I like to have a partner, and we help complement each other, and work together for the same kind of goals and we enjoy each other's company. And that goes back to the how it transcends just being a feeling, and then it is actually an experience. And you can have the same kind of experience with non-romantic partners and friendships. I think probably that's a good thing. But I would agree that maybe you do need conditions in those relationships so that you're not unhealthy and toxic. So probably unconditional love in that way is a bad example. But in a parent-child relationship, I think it should be unconditional. And maybe a better word is I hear, well, no, never mind. I was thinking about things that are transactional. Maybe that's a very good example. You shouldn't be, relationships shouldn't be transactional and just petty enough or pithy enough that they're just a transaction and then they're done. Like there should be weightier. So maybe do I believe in the concept of God's unconditional love? I don't know. I'm not familiar with that concept. I don't, I'm not necessarily a religious person. I believe in, yeah, I don't believe in religion necessarily as far as for me, the, it reminds me of like a kind of like a political party. Every political party and every religion is always out to say that theirs is the best one and do it. And I think everybody should have the faith that they have without judgment. You can fully believe in what helps you get through the day. But I don't ascribe to parties or anything like that. So I don't know what you mean by the concept of God's unconditional love. I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts on that because I didn't really think about that. I believe in the universe, and believe in a lot of spirituality things, but as far as wow, that just got so heavy. Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. That's the thing. And I was just going to say, I know people believe in God. And I tend to be more agnostic, I guess. I didn't really want to talk about religion because I don't want to upset people. I don't want to take away other people having faith. I feel like if that's what helps you through the day and that helps you be stronger and be a better person, then absolutely 100%. But I 100% agree. If that's a thing. If, God, what is these questions? Who are you? Does truth matter? Of course truth matters. But then you're going to get a bunch of people asking you, well, which is true and how do you prove it? So I don't know. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. But I do think that what you say, if love is unconditional, well, then why is there a hell? If they have faith in non-true things. Well, a lot of the religious faith stuff, I don't know. I guess it just comes back to if they're hurting someone or not. That's what matters to me. Not what your faith is. Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, if people have faith in non-true things, it's not my job to judge whether it's non-true, true or non-true in a faith sort of. I guess it doesn't matter to me if the God that a lot of people talk about actually exists or not. It doesn't matter to me. He could, she could, or he or she could not. To me, what matters is what you do with the time that you're alive and what you do with that and how you treat other people. Are you going to make a choice in any given day? Are you going to hurt someone or are you going to harm them? Are you going to choose, make a choice to help someone? Are you going to actively pray? Or are you going to pray for or pray against? So if you love a person, or even if you don't love a person, are you going to hurt them or are you going to harm them? So that, I guess that's what matters to me, whether or not there is a God or a heaven or a hell or whatever. What matters is what you actually do, concrete, tangible, right in front of you, one step at a time. So, but even if they don't directly hurt, they vote for what type of systemic violence is justified. Yeah, that's that's now we're getting into politics, and I don't want to talk. I'm not really comfortable with that. I don't really want things to be political at all because I believe that it all should come down to maintaining human rights for all. Um, and I just don't really want to talk about politics. That's a messy, messy topic. Uh, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of politics or political structure or any of that. So I don't want to really talk about that. That makes people feel kind of gross and dirty, and I don't feel like I need to go take a shower right now. So maybe not talk about politics. That would be awesome. But yeah, conflict avoidance over politics. Bad experiences. Oh. Ooh, who are you? Oh, so you're asking the questions. Yep, I don't know. Bad, bad, experiences. I don't know. I I used to do some human rights and political work a long time ago. Minor trauma response. Uh, maybe. No, I used to do some political work a long time ago. I organized protests. I had an op-ed in the Miami Herald. I lobbied uh, people in our government. I interned in Washington, D.C., and I lobbied my local representatives up in D.C. once upon a time. And believe it or not, those same representatives are still in office today. It's been over 25 years, and it doesn't really feel like much has changed. So I'm kind of jaded, although I am hopeful that the world can change to be a better place at one point, at some point. I don't believe we should give up. I believe we should try our hardest to try and do what we can do to try and impact. I see it more philosophical. Should human rights a social construct or a universal principle? Should it be a social construct or a universal principle? A social contract, sorry, because social construct and social contract are two different things. I see it more philosophical. It is. It should be philosophical. So it shouldn't be. Yeah. It shouldn't. Politics shouldn't be something that we argue about. This is what I. This is frustrating for me. This is super frustrating for me because I fully believe in human rights, and we've signed all kinds of things to sign on to what do we think what should the universal principle. We have the Universal Declaration of Human Rights that was signed quite a long time ago before I was even alive. And so that should be a thing. But since it's been so lost in all the bureaucratic red tape, these social contracts are not upheld. There aren't consequences. There aren't consequences and there aren't protections. And those human rights are being denied people all around the world. So we still have oppression and we still have marginalized people. And so that to me, it shouldn't be political. That's the frustration for me. So that's why I hesitate to talk about it. Because I don't think I'm not registered with any political party because I don't think any political party has the answer. Um, and I really would like to see that change. I would really like to see we have a Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I used to carry a copy of it with me. I used to carry a journal and a pen and everything with me. So I would always have it with me. So if I was traveling or anything else, I could stop and I'd have paper and pen and I could write. And I think it's incredibly important to uphold some sort of social contract. And it can absolutely be a universal principle. Like they're isolated Amazonian tribes. Do human rights apply to them? If so, wouldn't that be colonial in nature? If not, then should it be accept that we did violate each other's rights? I don't think that believing that isolated tribes have human rights, I don't believe that that's colonial. I don't. If we were to go in forcibly in any way, shape, or form and be harming them, as we do, by the way, that's another subject. If not, then should we? Questions. Prep your. Gosh, you got a lot of deep thoughts for me on a Sunday afternoon. I am exhausted and I want to take a nap, but holy smokes, this is great. Should we accept if they didn't violate each other's rights? So do we, you mean, do we intervene? No, 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 not poorly worded. It's fine. It's fine. No, no, no. I'm just trying to understand. Do you mean, do we intervene if they have issues with each other? I mean, I don't know. It's none of our business. But we absolutely harm their human rights. We're decimating their entire infrastructure in their land. So I guess it doesn't matter if it's colonial or not, if that makes sense. They're human beings, and by being born, they have human rights, and we violate them, and we should not. And by we, let me caveat, by we, I mean anybody who is doing what they are doing directly. Let's say hypothetically, you start murdering children. Should we intervene? Me personally, yes. If someone is murdering children, you should intervene. That's why Order 66 was so wrong. Hello? We don't murder children. I think that should be a universal principle, that we don't murder children. I don't care if that's controversial. I have very bad words for someone that thinks that that's controversial. So human rights ought to be a principle. Yeah, no, they should be. It should be a universal principle. I mean, is it a rare position? Is it really a rare position that we shouldn't have a universal set of human rights? Yes, I made a Star Wars reference. Yeah, so that's where you come into the tricky part. That if you do have a universal principle, it can come off like you're forcing values and judgment. Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. It does come down to forcing values and judgment. And that's where it gets really tricky. Yep. I mean, and I don't have the answer for that. But I think like there should be a basic set of human rights. And we have them. There is the Declaration of, there's a Declaration of Universal Human Rights. It was signed by lots of countries. And they don't follow it, actually. If you don't sign a human rights contract. Okay, so, gosh, Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights in an American political structure. And a lot of people go back to this and say, yeah, forced intervention can be colonial. It sure can. That's tricky. I don't know. That's tricky. But when you go back to the Declaration of Independence and you go back to the Bill of Rights and they say you have the right, inalienable human right, by birth, just being born. You have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So much so until you infringe on someone else's right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That is a universal principle that you think would be safe enough to apply. But then it's been politicked all to hell. So we'll just leave it at that. Because even that, very basic, inalienable, meaning as soon as you're alive, you have this right to life, liberty, which is your freedoms of yourself, and the pursuit of happiness. As long as you're not hurting another person, as long as you're not infringing on another person's life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, you have those rights yourself. But we see how those are politicked. So, I don't know. That's a lot of messy talk there. That's a lot of messy talk. Yep, for sure. Yeah. Oh, wow. I don't even know who you are. And here you are with these tough I need like a shot of espresso. Yeah, it's fun. I love it. A lot. I don't do really good small talk. I'm not a fan of small talk. I don't really care how the weather is. I mean, it is what it is. I love the deep talk. It's great. It's wonderful. Lots of deep. You get pretty judged for that stuff though. You say the wrong word and it's all done. You're done for. So it's not necessarily the funniest conversation because those are deep thoughts, but I don't mind it. It's great. That's wow. That's something to think about. That's interesting. Studies show people prefer deep talks. I do. I do because I mean, I don't even mind if people have a different view than me. I really want to see. I really want to know a different perspective because for me, and I don't know how many other people are like that. Just the way I'm wired neurologically, I spend a lot of time in my head and I think a lot. And I don't know if it's analytical. I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's analytical thinking or not, but I spend a lot of time thinking a lot of things. And uh, yeah, I don't know. It's nice to get a perspective so I don't, because you know what's the statement? You lose yourself, you lose the forest through the trees, or you lose the trees through the forest. So you got to keep you got to keep sight of the macro and the micro, right? Like you got to balance the bigger picture and then the micro details that are happening along this. So the day to day is important because I think you need to enjoy the day to day, and know how that day to day interaction and activity actually impacts, and how that's gonna your daily choices and how that's gonna impact the macro of everything too, not just the micro. So don't take a walk in the trees and miss the forest or the trees. Try and balance both, right? I guess. I don't know. I don't know if I'm an analytical thinker. No person. I hold a position that no personal hold any moral blame for their actions. I don't understand. They don't blame themselves. They won't take blame. I mean, there's a by and large, I would say, without any statistical data to back it up, most people do not take responsibility for their actions or have accountability. And I see it in a lot of things in the world. And I'm not going to, they're not morally responsible for their actions. I guess that depends on what you're thinking about morality wise. I guess that really depends, you know? Um, I don't know because that's where that gets a little tricky. Like you said, like it was mentioned before, universal principles. Um, Morality does come into play. And I think morality is more important than religion. Like I said, I think doing more help than harm and making a choice to help and not harm in any given choice should be. You can, but I'm not sure. My brain's kind of sleepy and muddled. So you can, and I can try to follow. I wasn't expecting this. That's great. Well, welcome. My battery's getting low, and I didn't bring my charger because I wasn't, I was, this is poor planning. Hello. This is poor planning on my part. I didn't bring my charger into the other room again because I didn't expect this. But I don't mind unexpected. I think unexpected can be great, and I think just go with it. That's awesome. More, that's amazing. I'll go with it. I'll run with it. Make it simple. Hopefully, I'm not dumb, but yeah, I just want to be able to understand what you're what you're referencing. I mean, we could talk about dinosaurs again. Did you know I love raptors? Did you also know I love the color blue? Now that I'm stating the obvious things. Anybody that knows me and watching that right there will find that funny, maybe. But also incredibly. Oh, yes. I think your nature and nurture make up everything that we are. I agree completely. And I think it's both. It's not just one or the either, one or the other. I think it's both, 100%. I've no just in my experiences that seems to pan out that it's both. It's not just one or the other. It's combinations, and I think it kind of ebbs and flows. It's not like a bigger percentage of one. It's not half and half. I think it ebbs and flows because I think that's kind of like how human beings are in their lifetimes. They kind of ebb and flow on a spectrum of different feelings, maybe attractions or whatever, any kind of way that they present themselves to the world around them and any way that they act. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of an ebb and a flow. So, and that we don't get to choose nature or nurture. So we don't get to choose nature, but I think we can choose nurture. I think that there's some of the things in our lives that we can choose as far as nurturing. And I think that comes back to having choices and conditions for the love or the relationships that we're in. And then those conditions kick in when we're no longer being nurtured. So I think that the nurture, I think that you can choose that nurturing to a degree, but you don't get to choose nurturing as a child in a child-parent relationship. Yeah. So you can choose the people that you're with and stop that. So I think that part is an active choice. So everything in a person's life is by happenstance. Now, see, yeah. Blaming someone for factors they're born into is victim blaming them for their happenstance. I think that you're right. That if you blame someone, I don't think there's any point. I don't think there's a point for blame when it comes down to nature. If you are, that's the thing, okay? This is something that I tell my kids sometimes. If you're taking a walk and you step in a pile of poop, you have a choice. And this is probably where that nurturing aspect of this comes in. You have a choice. You can look at your shoe and you can be like, oh my God, I just stepped in a big pile of dog poop. What am I going to do? And you can get mad and you can get mad about it and then still smell like crap. Or you can clean your shoe off and you can actually use that crap to fertilize a tree. So, like, you have bad experiences in life, they're going to happen to you. So, you have a choice about what you do with that. So, you have a choice to take that bad experience and turn it into something positive, or try to not, at least to the point of not letting it bother you, so that you're able to at least be clear-headed enough to not sit wallowing in a pile of feces. Because that's terrible. Like, who wants to do that? But hey, people do that. They don't. Yeah, you choose. That's it, right. You have things happen to you in life, and then you choose how to react to them. That's right. That's 100%. Character discipline is a good tool that a nurture can install. Yeah. See? There. So I think that the nurture part, once you're past the construct or the constraints, past the constraints of being a child, and once you actually have more physical control over your life, yeah. Yeah, yeah, your nature's shaped by that. I mean, as far as some of those things are very much their nature, they're how you're born, but then they move into something completely different. So I think that the nature and the nurture is important as far as they are interconnected. But everything is interconnected. There's cause and effect everywhere. There's something happens, and there's an action and a reaction. I don't know if it's all happenstance though. I think there's an action and then there's a reaction. And I know that a lot of people say that cause and effect, and this can be all hokey, that there's the ripple effect, and um, well, no, you don't blame fire for being hot or a computer for getting a virus. You don't blame the clouds for their precipitation. If you did, well, you blame a person for being a person if they do something against a social contract. I'm sorry. You can absolutely blame a person for being a person if they do something harmful when they have a choice to not to. So there's a lot of people that can but there's people that can have a lot of bad things happen to them in life. And they can be abused by other people, and they can be, whatever. Everybody has something that's happened to them at one point or another. But you have a choice. You have volition. You have free will. You're not a computer, and you're not a fire just burning because you're a person with an actual choice. You have a brain, and you have deep thoughts. And even if you don't, generally you're held accountable for. You just can't go around on a murder spree and say, oh, sorry, that was just my nature. You do have free will. Absolutely. There's consequences to that free will. As I said, you have the ability to go do whatever you want to. But if there's laws, and even if there isn't laws, there is a consequence. There's a consequence to your actions, whether you want it or not. Whether it's legal or not, there's still going to be a consequence. I mean, you see it everywhere. So, do you make a choice? Do you make a choice to take a job? Do you make a choice between which jobs you choose? Isn't that part of free will? You can stand up and you're chatting in the chat right now. Isn't that a choice that you've made with your free will? But is it in your nature? You really want to get a job? Not many people want to take a job that pays their bills because they would prefer something else. But they have to make a choice. They have to make a choice that they want something in life. So they have to go along various steps to get to that choice, to get to that culmination of that. Right? That's what I would think. So yes. Unforced by external social pressure. I think that they're too interconnected to take them away. And I don't have a problem with that. I think if your nature tells you that you're going to go around murdering kittens, there's consequences to that. I don't know. I mean, I think there should be. I think there should be consequences to doing things that are harmful to other people. And if someone wants to argue that their nature, it's just their free will and their nature to be that way, then that's not I don't think that should leave them blameless. There should be blame and there should be consequences because the natural order of consequences happen. Not necessarily. So I have a very controversial thing. I don't punish my kids, but they have consequences. And some of those natural consequences come about. I like to have a general rule of be kind and be nice, take care of your body, and try to think about what other people are thinking about and going through before you are mean. Like don't yell at them, etc. But those consequences, I don't make those consequences up. If you're playing with someone and you're doing something and you decide to yell at them, there is going to be a reaction. That other person is not going to like being yelled at. So that may actually impact your relationship with that person. So there are real life, real world consequences that I don't have to do anything at all to dishing out. There's no reason for punishment. Oh my God. Why? My battery's gonna die. Sorry. I'm gonna get to. It's gonna go. Why are these questions? You're killing me. Consequences should be rehabilitative. That would be great if consequences were rehabilitative instead of punitive. Because punishment doesn't necessarily always do anything. Punishment is. Punishment doesn't really teach you anything. So I think consequences are healthier than punishment. And consequences are actually discipline and teaching, and not just a flat blanket punishment. Punishments generally don't really do much. If your brain is nothing more than an exceptionally complex system of algorithms influenced by past experiences and current conditions, then are your actions actually deterministic? If so, does free will even exist? Jesus. God. I'm gonna take a nap. Bye. Why? And by the way, wow. Instead of that's my husband. he needs to, Jesus. He needs to go make me a really strong espresso right now. I don't. Yeah. Or Jesus. Thanks for that. If your brain is nothing more than an exceptionally complex system of... See, I'm falling asleep right now. This is kind of look I give when he's trying to talk to me about something that he's doing at work in the day. Are you actually deterministic? Free, of course, free will exists. You have a choice. Every moment is a choice. Despite the fact that you've just asked me questions like this on stream, I still love you. Of course, 100% forever. That's not a condition to our love. It just comes back right around full circle. Can we talk about dinosaurs? We could talk about Star Wars again. We just started Kenobi last night. I don't have any spoilers. Just one episode in. Hence my Order 66 reference. See, I choose to love. I mean, I don't actually really want to talk about Star Wars. I'm going to say something super controversial. I'm not really a big Star Wars fan. Okay, but choices are determined by physical laws. It's a computation of the brain. No, I think that you're past it. No, I agree that your nature is determined by a lot of the way that you're nurtured. And I think that absolutely has... Never heard of Star Wars. Come on. I think it can be a computation of your brain. Yeah. I do. I think sometimes there's... It was actually... so as far as this proving, going back to that, another article came up when I was reading just the other day, and they did brain scans on children. And the children that were loved and nurtured... Is the analyst... I'm going to break my streak of not dropping any F-bombs if you guys don't stop. I'm behaving myself so well with my language. I think you should be very proud of me. No, the study came and they did brain scans of children, and they showed that children that were loved and nurtured, it actually showed on their brain. The children that were not... I want to keep it kid-friendly, even though I'm not necessarily kid-friendly with the language when I'm around my kids in the day-to-day. I want to keep it kid-friendly so that if other people think it's okay and cool for their kids to watch it, that it's appropriate. Um, uh, Children outside of my house friendly. The children that were not nurtured and loved, the children that were spanked, and have punitive consequences to their actions, and that were not, that they were let to, if they were left to cry it out or anything like that, their brains were half the size, literally on the scans. It's science proving what some may think is just garbage talk. That it's just, it's not, you can't prove that gentle parenting actually benefits. Well, yes, actually, it is scientifically proven that gentle parenting is that it does actually make a difference. And again, I don't want to misuse the idea of gentle parenting. A lot of people think that if you're a gentle parent, that there's no consequences and you just let your kids do whatever you want. And that's absolutely not true. I don't believe in force as much as possible. And this is going to open up a whole big can of discussion. It could. But the battery's running low. So there won't be a whole long, big discussion. But not using force is very different than letting your children dictate every second of your day and run your life. So you have to have boundaries with your children within the constraints of that unconditional love, because you need to let them know boundaries to carry forth in their lives. Because if they don't know, I don't know when I'll be on next. I was trying to do it every day, but I don't know. I couldn't yesterday. I was just so exhausted after open house that I just, so that's why I had my Stitch shirt yesterday and I wanted to talk about it, but I was just too tired. And I'm still tired today. I feel like I'm just exhausted. So I don't know. I try and do it every day. Tomorrow is kind of free, maybe in the afternoon again. So, no, but gentle parenting doesn't mean that there's no consequences, and it doesn't mean that there's no structure, and it doesn't mean that there's discipline, that there's no discipline, I should say. Because I think that's important to instill those ideas. Because if I don't show them what boundaries are, then my kids will never know what boundaries are, and then they're just gonna let anybody like walk all over them. It's the same basic pretense of, well, why learn to write and read? Well, you need to know how to read and write in society, or somebody else is gonna read and write for you, and they might not have your best interest at heart. So you need to be able to read and write for yourself, so that you can take care of your own best interest to a degree. So, yeah. I don't know. Wow. Y'all, you're killing me. That was a lot more thought than I thought I would get. I appreciate that, though, actually. That's great. I love to think about things like that. And it's fantastic. If you believe in the evidence for it's not, I wouldn't call it soft parenting. I've just never heard it. I've heard people call it gentle parenting or attachment parenting. I homeschool. I've homeschooled all of my kids. Two of them I didn't homeschool for a time because it just wasn't possible. But then throughout middle school to high school, I homeschooled them, and one started college at age 14 being homeschooled. And his dual enrollment in a local college was his high school. Do non-homeschooled children do better? Do better as far as what? There's no proof that non-homeschooled children do better. I don't know what by metric. So I guess you have to rethink that and back up quite a few degrees to what metric you mean by do better. So the whole point of public school, academically, I mean, that's not true. So the whole point of the whole point of schooling is to teach them. To be ready to live in life and go about in the world. I mean, I had one of my homeschoolers go to college starting at age 14. He was dual enrolled going to college at age 14. So I mean, I guess it's a choice. Whoever wants to go to college and succeed in college can and will, um, whether they're homeschooled or not, I think. Yeah, absolutely. It depends on what the children want to do. And my idea has always been to try and facilitate what their end goals are, but also have a basic education that's important. Like you have to know how to read, you have to know how to write, you have to know how to do basic math calculations. And I think it's also really important to know how to take care of yourself as far as cooking, cleaning, basic hygiene, those kind of things as well. And some of that stuff isn't really taught in public schools, as far as the non academics. Um, yeah, so maybe they go to college at a higher rate because it's expected of them. I don't know. My kids, two of my kids have already graduated. One of them started college at 14 and is continuing college. And two of them did graduate. They got high school diplomas already. One chose not to go to college and one chose to go to college. I think it has to come down to a personal choice. Do you think it's going to facilitate a job that you want, and do you need a college education for it? And you have to think about what actually matters and what your goals are in life. Like some job fields you're going to need a college education for, and some job fields you're not. And what matters to you in your day to day, and what do you want? So it's my job to facilitate I can for them in our homeschooling journey. To that they have to know the basics so that they know how to take care of things in life and they know how to succeed. But I also feel it's my job to expose them to as much as possible so that I can plant as many seeds as possible that for them to find what may be interesting for them to pursue in their lives. What makes them happy and what's going to make them content in their existence and what's going to make, round out their whole person. I don't really care if they go to college or not. I will make sure that they have enough of an academic foundation so that they can succeed in college if that's what they want to do. But I don't care if they want to go to college or not. That's their choice completely. If they feel like they need to go to college because it's important for a career field they might want to go to, like, hey, if you want to be a doctor, I think you should go to college. But there's a lot of careers and there's a lot of life choices out there that do not require a college education. But I can give them, the basics that they need to attend college, to succeed in college, and give them a well-rounded experience. So they have the same. They actually, one of my sons that did the dual enrollment, they both did. They use the virtual school. They use the Florida virtual school because we live in Florida and it's free for us. They used the Florida virtual schools for the entirety of their high school. So it's actually and quite literally the same thing that they would have been learning if they had gone to public schools in person. So that was the basis of their academic foundation in high school. So that was all set up and structured like that. So it's the same education that you would get in public schools, except we can supplement because it was kind of boring for my kids. It wasn't they were just bored with it. But if you get the basics out of the way, you don't have to be bored. Then you can focus on things that you find more pleasurable to you to experience in your day. And it helps you because if you can experience these things and you can say, oh, I want to, two of the kids have gone through their phases where they like puppets and they want to build puppets and they want to play with puppets. And one of them outgrew it and one of them's in the middle of it right now. And we have all the things to make puppets. And they're packed away right now in the midst of moving. But if they like puppets and they want to study puppets and they want to look at ventriloquism and they want to see all of that and they get bored of that, well, I am damn sure glad they got bored of that when they were 9 years old instead of getting bored about that once they picked their major to go to school in college. So it's important to me to help facilitate as much of that experience as they can and go down all kinds of rabbit holes in life that are safe in the construct of home and experience things that might pique their interest now as opposed to possibly later. But if they experience it now and they get bored of it really quickly, it's kind of, I think they should get that out of their system when they're younger. And what if they still love puppets? That's awesome. We'll find you a college if that's what you want to do and be a professional puppet maker or a puppet performer, either way, because there's a lot in that as well. And it's with anything, any kind of topic or subject like that. So I think so I don't necessarily. I got two little ones still. Thank you, R. Well, I don't know. I mean, you can say that, and I don't know. I'm just doing what I feel is right. It's not. It's like I'm not. I'm not making a judgment call on myself. It doesn't matter. I could do everything I could do, and they still deserve more. So I can just do my best every day. That's all. But I still think they deserve more. So I don't know. I hope. Well, that's nice. Thank you. I'll take it as a compliment. It's hard to accept compliments sometimes for me. They kind of feel weird. I Yeah. So, yeah, no, I'll take it as a compliment and I'll say thank you. So I appreciate that. And my battery, no, thank you. My battery is getting low here though. And but no, thank you. I didn't expect that. You can, I guess, follow if you want and to get notifications. And no, that was great. That was very unexpected and a pleasant, deep chat. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you for stopping by. I don't really know what else to talk about because I really didn't have quite much harder questions. I don't want to talk about politics. Blah. No politics. Because that's just generally politics means people are being hurt. And I don't like that. Aw, thank you. You're sweet. I did a lot less facial talking this time. I think I'm so tired right now. But I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate joining in, and we could talk about dinosaurs, but I don't really have anything else to say about dinosaurs today so much. I wasn't really thinking about dinosaurs. I just wanted to not forget the when I was thinking about Stitch and the Ohana and that kind of topic. Because it's one of my favorite shirts. It's one of my newer shirts, and I like my shirts, and that was one of my current favorite shirts. It makes me happy. I guess that goes back to that. Surround yourself with what makes you happy. So, I think we should probably tie it up there. Probably. I think we should tie it up, wrap it up. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. That was nice though. I appreciate everybody that stopped by. Oh, well, yeah, it is. It's interesting to listen because even if you don't have anything to say, you're experiencing it too and you're here. And I think it helps to make you think about it. I don't know. I like to think about a lot of different things. I like to know what other people's perspectives are because I mean, I could be completely wrong. And I want to know, what other people feel about it too. So yeah, for sure. No, thank you. Don't tell me thank you for this stream, silly. Thank you for stopping by. I know you're busy and you got life to do too. So yeah, I should probably wrap it up there and see about and it's too late for coffee, isn't it? I don't have a highlight. It was a funny highlight last time when I got called out on my mom voice activated. Um, I don't know. I didn't activate the mom voice this time, despite one of the kids being in chat, which was funny. Wow, that was a long chat. So, wow, that was unexpected and a nice, pleasant surprise. So, thank you, everybody that stopped by. And I'll have to let you know when it's happening again. I hope everybody has a really good day. And take care of yourselves and take care of those around you. Because, yeah. Yeah. This is good. Hope, hope everybody has a good one.